It's amazing what you can do in one day. Start with a 4K walk or run. Stroll along the riverside through a fine art and craft exhibit. Try your luck at carnival games. Take a ride on a pontoon boat. Then party with friends and rock to bands till midnight while floating cauldrons of fire and fireworks light up the night. All in one day. As long as that day is Riverfest. From early morning to late at night. Party at the river, June 25th. IPFW Riverfest 2011. Be there.
Funding for Mastodon Minutes is provided by the Indiana-Purdue Student Government Association.
On the broadcast today, the spring semester wraps up at IPFW.
And we take a look at a movie showing in support of a group of people from halfway around the world.
And finally, we catch up with friends of the Angola Four in our special tribute.
All of this today on the season finale of Mastodon Minutes, along with a recap of IPFW sports with Chris Treft.
The spring semester wraps up at IPFW as students finish their final exams. Hello, I'm Andy Starwich.
And I'm Nick Lawrence. With the end of spring semester comes the beginning of summer, and summer classes for some. The 2 summer sessions this year will run from May 16th to June 24th and June 27th to August 5th, as students partake in intensive 6-week versions of their courses. Are you taking summer classes, Andy? Could be hot in those classrooms.
I sure am, and I think we have air conditioning, so we'll be okay.
We are in luck.
Fort Wayne, Indiana is home to one of the largest concentrations of Burmese refugees in the United States. Fleeing from government oppression in Myanmar, many refugees have struggled to acclimate to American society. We caught up with Professor Adam Dirksen, instructor of the Burmese integration class at IPFW. Last week, we were there as a few of his students organized the Burma VJ movie showing at student housing.
I think some of the goals of the event itself are to just build an awareness within the student population of some of the issues surrounding Burmese refugees in Fort Wayne. And that's simply to build an awareness and address some of the intercultural communication issues while also looking at the public policies and laws that have led to the state of the Burmese refugees in Fort Wayne community. There's a difference between a refugee and an immigrant that I think a lot of people don't understand. Refugees flee their country out of fear for their lives or being persecuted or put in jail. These are not, for example, economic migrants that choose to immigrate. They didn't choose to come to Fort Wayne. Many of these people spent 10, 12, 15, 17 years in a refugee camp in Thailand before they were told that they're going to go be relocated to Fort Wayne, Indiana. You know, obviously, given the choice, the best scenario is for Burma to be in a state where these individuals feel safe to go back to their home. But that's just not the case. So rather than sitting in a refugee camp, they've been relocated to different areas, including Fort Wayne, Indiana, which we believe has the highest Burmese refugee population in the States.
It certainly looked like an innovative way to bring attention to this group of people who are closer to home than we think.
Have you ever wanted to express your creative writing skills publicly? No Fences Allowed is an open mic night series oriented around original, individual expressions of creative writing, particularly poetry and short stories. This event was held at the Bean Coffee Shop on Wells Street.
I am, you are me. Trust in this life. Do not run with fear. The days are only growing brighter, while the end is drawing near.
If you missed the last event, the next reading will take place on Thursday at 7 p.m. This event was organized by Shalana Meyer and Jeff Walker, 2 creative writers from IPFW.
And now we remember 4 area students who were involved in a head-on collision while returning from spring break vacation this past March. The tragic loss of these 4 Angola high school students is hitting close to home for members of the Angola community and for a few students here at IPFW. Since this tragedy, I had a chance to talk with the boys' friends to see how they are holding up and what helps them to keep going.
I knew Riley because he was the closest. He was a good family friend of mine. He was a great kid, outgoing, always smiling, and really had an effect on a ton of people, as it showed to the number of people who came to the visitation.
He's, the most, perfect guy you could ever ask for, in the way that his characteristics and loves sports.
And I know a lot of people were affected by Alex too, because he was the high school quarterback and he had a lot going for him.
He broke many records up there, and just the fact that, even if he gets hit as hard as he could, he was going to take it and get right back up and keep playing.
I guess probably the biggest thing about Matt is that he was always probably the happiest person you could ever find. He's always smiling and always just high-spirited.
And then Evan, he was into music. He was going to make it somewhere in music. And on YouTube, he actually has a video. It's Leave Me Alone, which he sings, and he sings it with one of his friends from up at school, Lindsay Kent. And I've never heard anybody sing that well before.
It's definitely affected me big time. It makes you not take every day for granted and try and live every day for those boys and how they would be living their day too.
One thing, though, that did come out of it was that weekend, seems like everyone was home. Everyone was back from school.
It brought a community, the small town of Angola, and even the surrounding communities together. And I've never seen that before through our community.
Just everybody really is looking forward to life now, and it's just brought everybody closer together.
They're definitely affecting everyone that's lived in Angola, and everyone misses them truly. And as much as we wish to have them back, we know they're in better hands.
Alex Bauer, Matthew Rowe, Riley Zimmer, and Evan Weaver will be greatly remembered not only by their friends and family, but to a community that they touched.
Well, their memory and legacy will certainly live on in the people who knew them.
It sure will. And I am wearing the bracelet to commemorate all 4 boys that Justin Elston gave me.
Certainly a sad story indeed. SOAR, Student Orientation Advising and Registration, will begin in less than a month for incoming IPFW freshmen. The first session on June 1st has already reached capacity, but there will be more throughout the summer.
Notice a few more two-wheelers on campus last week. Last week was Bike to Campus Week at IPFW. The event, sponsored by IPFW Health and Wellness, offered a bike panel discussion where bikers and non-bikers alike could share ideas on making campus more bike-friendly.
Well, that certainly is a good way to save on the high cost of fuel.
It sure is.
Well, luckily we didn't see any biker shorts, and speaking of a guy you wouldn't want wearing biker shorts, here's Chris Treff for our final Mastodon Sports Recap.
I beg to differ, Nick, because I think I look phenomenal in some short shorts. But thanks anyway. In women's tennis, for the second straight year, the IPFW women's tennis team won the Summit League Championship en route to a bid to the NCAA tournament. In their 30th match of the season, the Dons had a 4-0 shutout over number 3-seeded UMKC Kangaroos to solidify their spot in the tournament. On to men's basketball, where new head coach Tony Jasek just signed his first recruit as head coach, 6'8", 209-pound Demario Hines. Hines, who originally signed with IPFW out of Garfield High School in Cleveland, Ohio this past year, played in Trinity Valley Community College in Texas. Hines will have 2 years of eligibility for the Mastodons. On to baseball, where the Dons lost 3 of 4 to Centenary on Easter last weekend, falling to 6-6 in the Summit League. That was their first time playing since April 17th due to the wonderful weather we've been having. On to softball, where the Lady Dons shook off the rust from a 9-day layoff to sweep the Falcons of Bowling Green University by scores of 12-2 and 5-4. With the win, the ladies improved to 25-10-1 on the season. On to men's golf, where the Mastodon Golf Squad closed out the 2011 season with an 8th-place finish at the Boilermaker Invitational to cap off a very successful season. On to track and field. Senior Sarah Branham did it again, demolishing her own hammer throw school record by nearly 9 feet as the Mastodons competed in the final day of the Indiana University Polyton Invitational. The throw is the 3rd longest in the Summit League heading into the weekend and the 55th longest toss in the NCAA East region. Well, that's it for a great season of Mastodon sports. Had a heck of a time. Thanks. Back to Andy and Nick.
And thank you, Chris. Certainly some outstanding performances by our very own Mastodon peers. Well, that just about does it for this season.
It certainly has been a busy year for Mastodon Minutes. We'd like to recognize the people behind the scenes who help us to look good. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work and dedication. We would also like to say goodbye to a few of our own. Current president, executive producer, and political reporter Tim Zink will leave at the end of this semester. Also, one of our floor directors, Nikki Perry, will be transferring to California. Thank you both, and good luck.
Of course, all of these departures will leave a couple holes to fill. If you're interested in joining our news team, we're having an anchor and reporter tryout this Friday at 11:30 at the CATV B52 studios in the basement of the library. Well, that does it for this season. I'm Nick Lawrence.
And I'm Andy Starwich. Thank you for watching Mastodon Minutes, your choice for campus news. We will resume new episodes with our brand new Mastodon Minutes news team this fall.
Have a great summer, everybody. More programming from CATV is coming up next. Thanks for watching.
It's amazing what you can do in one day. Start with a 4K walk or run. Stroll along the riverside through a fine art and craft exhibit. Try your luck at carnival games. Take a ride on a pontoon boat. Then party with friends and rock to bands till midnight while floating cauldrons of fire and fireworks light up the night. All in one day. As long as that day is Riverfest. From early morning to late at night. Party at the river, June 25th. IPFW Riverfest 2011. Be there.